So, ninth chapter in Bhagavad Gita is very prolific. Let's take a few minutes just to dwell on this, some messages that Lord Krishna has for us. Very important shlokas. Of course, the entire Bhagavad Gita is amazing. But I was reading the ninth chapter and hearing some very strong lectures on how Krishna talks about the most confidential knowledge, which is the ninth chapter. Namaom Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Charu Swaminiti Namine Snigdha Chetaha Supranetaha Vagminam Charasaplutam Prabhubhata Gata Prana Nami Bhakti Charupadam Namaom Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gaurbani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunnavadi Paschatya Deshatarine He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Shri Radha Kanta Namostate. The shloka starts with the speaker is Bhagavan Uvacha, Shri Bhagavan Uvacha. Idam tu te guhyatamam Pravakshamyanusuyave Jnanam Vijnana Sahitam Yagyatva Mokshase Shubha. Lord Krishna says, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna says, my dear Arjuna, because you are never envious of me, I shall impart to you the most confidential knowledge and realization, the knowledge in which you shall be relieved of all the miseries of the material existence. So the meaning and also the purport which Srila Prabhupada gives so amazingly, so meticulously and in detail is very singular and very amazing in the concept, because he says, Krishna says, because you are never envious of me. So bhakton ke beech mein jo rahasya hoti hai. So the minute we call ourselves, or at least we are trying to be in the path of devotion and want to become a devotee, for some it takes lifetimes, for some it takes years and years and years, so many tapas. Even the amazing rishis and munis and so many sages, which our scriptures have said, they have achieved so many things, but do they really become an ardent devotee of Sri Krishna is a different thing. So that is what this chapter starts with. Krishna says, because you are never envious of me. So pehli baat to ye hai, I'll speak a little bit in Hindi also, in that way we can enjoy the rest of it. Envy. So one may ask, in fact I asked this question, I remember even years ago when I read Prabhupada's translation and purport, how would one be envious of God? In that remains the entire cause and result of this universe. The very reason that we want to enjoy material nature, which stems from our lust, from our desire, shows that we do have envy. So we always say that, I want to be this, I want to be that, I want to achieve this, I want to go to the best schools, I want to, get all the best degrees on earth, buy an amazing mansion, or even if you want to take it in the way of charity, I want to become so rich that I can give charity to so many organizations. I want to become so popular that I will do good, but let me become all popular. So it's all about me. And yehi baat hai har ek individual mein. It's like all of us. None of us are exempt. Of course, at some phases with Krishna's grace and our acharyas and our gurus' presence in our lives, we may turn to that mode, that we realize it's not all about me. There's something missing there. But Arjuna's and Krishna's relationship is very prolific here when we see that Arjuna is listening to Bhagavad Gita right in the middle of battlefield, because he needs Krishna's presence not just as his charioteer, but also as his guide and philosopher. So when Lord Krishna is going through all the different systems, 9th chapter, he starts with, because you are not envious of me, I will tell you everything you need to know that will negate all obstacles for you. So at this point too, Arjuna is in a quandary. He is in a real, he is agitated. Do I really fight and kill everybody who is near and dear to me and become Lord one day? What do? I don't want to, but I know as a Kshatriya I have to. So there are so many if, but, how, why. So many questions still unanswered. And all the answers are now starting to come in real deep form from Lord Krishna. But the very fact that the Lord says, because you are never envious of me, I shall impart to you this most confidential knowledge and realization. That is why it says, Guhyatamam. So, Gupt jo, most secretive. Guhyatamam in Sanskrit really means that which is most secretive. And he says, Rajavidya Rajaguhyam Pavitram Idamuttamam. This knowledge is the king of education. So we talk about so many different paths of education in our lives. Many of us, most of us, some of us, like the modern education as we call it. We are talking about, I want to do a PhD in, science, biology, math, statistics. So many subjects on earth for all of us to, focus on. And some of us do focus on all of them. But this is one subject which is common to literally every human being. Of course, it's pertinent to all living entities, but I say human being because we have been blessed with the brain. So for every human being, we have this common element. This is the education that is the most important education. That is what Lord Krishna is talking about. This knowledge is the king of education. Raja Vidya Raja Guhyam Pavitram Idamuttamam. This knowledge is the king of education, the most secret of all secrets. It is the purest of all knowledge because it gives direct perception of the self by realization. It is the perfection of religion. It is everlasting and it is joyfully performed. In life, we have so many truths that come to us much later after the fact. And many times perhaps, and I am no stranger to that, like when I realize, why did I even work so hard to do this, that? All that was so stupid. I actually say that to myself even today. It was so stupid for me to have done that. Because you at every point, you are maturing. At every point, you are realizing some deep truths, which brings you to think, okay, so literally I had made so many different plans. The first 10 years I wanted to do this, and the next 10 years I want to do this, I want to achieve that. But so what? What did I do? And the result of all those achievements, what does it give me? Many of us realize that much later, and sometimes when we least expect it. ये हुआ क्या, मैंने एकदम, that's what. But this knowledge that what is the purpose of my life? This is common to each and every one of us. It is required by each and every one of us. There's nobody exempt. Nobody can come and say that I don't need to know the purpose of my life, literally. Maybe you all want to. I really don't. Nobody on earth can come out and say this. This is the knowledge Krishna is talking about. Idam tute guhyatamam. So this chapter of Bhagavad Gita is called the King of Education because it is the essence of all the doctrines and philosophies explained even prior to this. So we see, many of us have read, I'm sure all of you have listened to at least good pravachans in Bhagavad Gita. Lord Krishna talks about the different yoga systems, what leads to what, वो कर्म से शुरू करते हैं, how we are supposed to do our duty, do this, do that. This is how you behave. This is how you come to terms with reality. So you're talking on so many levels of yoga. But here, I would definitely encourage everybody to read Prabhupada's purport for Bhagavad Gita. He goes really deep as no one else can go. Because it really churns our heart and makes us think a little bit more. Because it's very humane, it's on a very human level. It's on a very understandable level. It's nothing that is very, wishy-washy or over the top. Oh, ye sab mere samajh mein nahi aati. Many times we say that reading some book. But this is so far from it. Because it is the essence of all doctrines and philosophies explained before. Among the principal philosophers in India, we have so many different philosophers like Gautam Rishi, Kanada, Kapila, Yajnavalkya, Shandilya, and the different Vaishnavacharyas. Finally, there is Vyasadeva, the author of the Vedanta Sutra. So there is no dearth of knowledge in the field of philosophy. But what is that knowledge that will be uplifting and that which will tell us the real truth about ourselves? So the reality in which we are bound so much to the material plane. Is there ever a time, I ask this question to myself, is there ever a time when I will realize how far removed we are? But many times I'm so, I just go with the flow of today, what's going to happen today, what am I going to cook today, what am I, am I going to work today, what do I, for this meeting, what do I get? So we are all in this ebb and flow of life, and then we have our highs and lows. But when we take the time to question the most confidential and the most common note of requirement that we all have, we all share this. We all very much share this requirement to know about the purpose of life. That is what Sri Krishna is talking about here. Generally, people are not educated in this confidential knowledge, Prabhupada goes on to say. They are educated in the external knowledge. As far as ordinary education is concerned, people are involved with so many departments: politics, sociology, physics, chemistry, mathematics, astrology, astronomy, engineering. There are so many departments, so many universities, so many faculties. People are doing so much of research in medicine, research in diseases. Do we really hear of a department which focuses literally on what is the purpose of my life kind of a subject? Yes, we do say. Now we hear Department of Philosophy, Department of Asian Studies, or even historical studies, and everything is there. But this intrinsic study of the purpose of life. So Prabhupada talks about that. Unless we know that, we are literally wasting our time with so many different subjects, which still doesn't get away from our basic problems. What are those problems? The ones we talk about a lot: birth, death, old age, diseases. So no matter, even if I have 10 PhDs, I'm going to die someday. As of today, there's no cure for death. There's no cure even for the best cancer doctors for cancer. They have a remission. I have 5 saal aur hai. I have 5 more years. God has given me. I'm happy. But that's only 5 more years. Somebody can say I have 15 years, but that's only 15 years. Somebody says, oh, I got remission, so many years ago, and I'm there at least, 30 years. After 30 years, what's going to happen? So there is a dot. There is that end for it. So none of us, even with all our material achievements and opulences and so many degrees and so many certifications and so much of knowledge, our traveling, we travel a lot, we get to know people, we achieve so many different padavis in life, statures in life. Never negates this. And yes, as soon as we have to grow old age comes with its own problems, we die. After that, it doesn't end there. Our karma is so strong. We know very well we're going to be back here as somebody else, as something else. And Krishna willing, it'll be in another human body. I don't know. Yes, I would rather believe the devotees who say, well, at least you have taken Krishna's name, so he promises in the Bhagavad Gita that he will, Shuchinam Srimatam Gehe, person who has taken his name will be born into a good family to continue this yoga process. So that shows at any point, at some birth at least, we need to imbibe in ourselves, what is the purpose of my life? Where am I going? What can I do to get away from the same old, same old? Yes, it's easier said than done. On a very practical level, it is not at all easy. But on another practical level, when I come and see, the devotees here and, just sit and focus on the deities and the lotus feet of Krishna, and then, of course, sing sometimes or, glorify Krishna, hear some good lectures, then that is when our hearts, kind of open up and we realize that this can be done. It is not hard. It is not hard because it is something that we can understand. Because we are so much on the material plane that we will not understand anything unless we can see, touch, feel, because we are so sense bound. हम लोग सब sensory bound हैं. If I can touch my harmonium, I'm confident, okay, I have my support when I sing. I see something, I believe it is there. But Krishna says, I'm always here for you. And that is why this requirement to go deep within ourselves, to take time to go deep within ourselves and to wonder. It is very good to wonder where all this is leading. What can I do to better this? So those two shlokas back to back are very important, and the purports are really lengthy but amazing. For those who are engaged in the devotion service of supreme personal service and the personality of God as Sri Krishna, all reactions, whether sinful or whether fruitive actions, it will all be negated. It will gradually vanish. Because devotional service, how Prabhupada brings the aspect of devotional service. So none of us are exempt from pap and punya. So pap karenge to usko to bhogna hi padega. We have to go through the motions of getting hit, getting reactions, suffering for that. If we do punya, we're again going to be back here to enjoy it in a different way and then perhaps utilize that time for doing more pap. Sad, but that's how it works. It's like that, what is that little animal on that wheel? Gerbil? Right? Because it keeps on going. Hamsters. So we keep going on that. We're like really at it, and there seems to be no end to it. And then we are enjoying some bhogatyaga, right? We are like enjoying some parts of it so much. And then we are suffering, oh my God, there's no job, I lost my job. Or my son doesn't have a job, my daughter is having this, my husband is having this problem. There's no end of it. And then one day suddenly we get like 20 minutes of real happiness. We hear that somebody found a job or something happened. Like we take the whole, thing saying, oh my God, I'm on top of the world today. This is awesome. Let me go and enjoy a Christmas party or whatever. So we are always vacillating between the highs of having a lot or sometimes having everything, and then like a prick balloon. We're like, oh, I'm totally lost. I'm so gone. And then we get some of us even go through a period of bitterness. Oh, what is there in anything? I don't believe in anything. Everything is, it's really useless. What is the point? So everything is an extreme of bhoga and tyaga. So if we know the purpose of our life and know very well that we cannot get away from these problems, there is no way we are going to get away. The truth is, open my eyes, the problems are sitting right in front of me. I am never going to be away, however powerful I become, and that same power comes from Krishna. Why does that power come from Krishna? Mamaivamsho jiva loke. Jiva Bhuta Sanatanaha. Krishna says, you are all my angsha. You are all part and parcels of me. So obviously we have little tiny bit of his power. We are little sparks. And we have the spark in us which will make us empowered to achieve so many things in life. Some of us achieve a lot, like Bill Gates. Some of us achieve something else. Some of us even become stronger in so many different facets. Some of us even go to the extent of realizing the purpose of life now, and then due to our some karma from one of our past lives, we fall. So this shows that not only do we need an effort on our part, we need also the right atmosphere. We need also sadhu sangha. So very important thing for our realization. Krishna can make us very strong in realizing the truths, but we should also be able to find the right atmosphere, to find the right-minded people, like-minded people, and spend time in glorifying Krishna, because in his name he is so amazing. This, whether it is Hare Krishna Mahamantra or the mantra that makes you focus. The mantra is very powerful because the name of God is God himself. So Krishna is in his various names. Today we took so many of his names: Govinda, Gopala, Mukunda, Adhokshaja. All these names are very powerful names because they are not names. They literally are the personality. And when we take time to say his name out aloud, we are doing so many things at the same time. We are telling his name, so we are using our mouth, our tongue. When we say the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, it dances. They say, our Vaishnavacharyas so beautifully say that the Krishna dances in our tongue. That is how beautiful the Hare Krishna Mahamantra is. So taking the name of Krishna, and that also makes us think about Krishna. So for that period of time when we are having a satsang or devoting, giving time for devotional service, that period of time, all our senses, everything about us, our energy, our sight, our touch, everything is geared towards Krishna. That is where we will have a turning point. When it will happen, how it will happen, he has the answers, but it will happen. So that's the assurance. I would still encourage, periodically to read this particular chapter. I won't take too much of your time. I know it is a weekend for you all. So again, I thank you so much. I will do a small little kirtan bhaiya if you want to just play it for me, and we can finish it evening and go to the next portion of the evening. चाकर रहसो बाग लगासो चाकर रहसो बाग लगासो नित उठ दर्शन पासु मन चाकर राखो जी मन चाकर राखो जी चाकर राखो चाकर राखो चाकर राखो जी मन चाकर राखो जी मोर मुकुट पीताम्बर सोहे गले भई जयंती माला मोर मुकुट पीताम्बर सोहे गले भई जयंती माला वृंदावन में धेनु चढ़ावे वृंदावन में धेनु चढ़ावे मोहन मुरली वाला मन चाकर राखो जी मन चाकर राखो जी जोगी आया जोग करन को जोगी आया जोग करन को तप कर रे सन्यासी तप कर रे सन्यासी हरि भजन को साधु आया हरि भजन को साधु आया राखो जी, कहो जी मन चाकर राखो जी, धरो जी मन चाकर राखो जी, कहो जी मन चाकर राखो जी, कहो जी मन चाकर राखो जी, भजो जी मन चाकर राखो जी, कहो जी मन चाकर राखो जी. So we ask the mind always be the servant of Krishna. So in that way, we always, a servant always listens to the master. So, O mind, please keep me servant of Sri Krishna forever. Hare Krishna, thank you so much for attending today's satsang. Thank you.
Thank you, Priya ji, for